Hey everyone, it's Evan Kirstel. In the run up to the holidays, today we have Clark and Dave on this really special edition talking about the Cloud Communications Alliance. Guys, how are you?
Great. Thanks, Seven. How you
Great,
doing?
good to see
I'm
you.
grand. I'm grand.
Dave is always grand, but I'm
Well,
particularly excited to
Well,
chat
unlike
with.
yourself, you're usually a venti.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to a medium, but it's tough work. Um, in any case, we're here not to talk about the holidays. We actually don't have the week off because we're workaholics, but we are going to talk about an organization that I'm excited about, the Cloud Communications Alliance, and its Connections 2023 event in Fort Lauderdale in just under 30 days. I'm super excited to be there in person, and I thought this live stream would be really educational and exciting to my audience here. So, why don't we start with some introductions? Clark Peterson, chairman of the CCA. Maybe introduce yourself, your background briefly, and the Cloud Communications Alliance.
sure. Thanks, Evan. And yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and a pleasure to be here with Dave as well. He's a big part of Cloud Connections 2023 that's coming up. So this is great to let people make people aware of it all. But chairman of the CCA, I've spent prior to that, I was about 30 years in communications, from everything from wireless to wireline to cloud communications. I was the CEO of Telesphere in the cloud communication side, and we sold that to Vonage, and then I became president of Vonage Business. And now I'm focused on the overall industry with the CCA, and it's our mission here to really advance the causes of cloud communication. So it's great to be here, and Cloud Connections 2023 will be the biggest event we've done to date. The organization, the CCA, has been around since 2009. So we've been doing a lot of events, and went virtual during COVID, but we're coming back big here with a very large event
So,
in a
so Clark, you sold your company to Vonage. You worked at Vonage for a few years. You had your ticket out. You could have just left this industry. You could have been done with it. Why are you still here?
Hey, this is the perfect mix. I can spend some time with the family and travel, and still keep my finger on the pulse here with the industry. So yeah,
No
being
escape, is there? There's just no
But
escape.
the real question is, why is Dave Michaels still here? But actually, it's not a real question because he's doing a number of educational tracks. Putting aside your personal opinion of Dave Michaels, he is an industry guru when it comes to enterprise communications, collaboration, and cloud. Dave, so why are you attending CCA beyond getting out to the nice weather in Fort Lauderdale? And what are some of the tracks that you're excited about
So
on your?
CCA is one of my favorite events because most of the events I go to are vendor-specific events, and you look, and they're great. I mean, I don't want to put them down, but they're, you look at one vendor's view of the world, you understand it, you learn all about it, you play with it, you tweak it, and then you leave and say, well, I understand how that vendor fits in the world. But CCA is about the industry. It's really about all these service providers and and where they have common challenges, and you know the industry is changing. I mean, it's not for the last few years, or when VoIP was new, it was all about features and speeds and what can you do with that platform. Now it's less about what the platform can do and more about who provides the platform and how the service is being delivered. And that's what the CCA is so interesting about. I think one of the titles for the event, Clark, I don't know if we ended up using it or if it was just a rough draft, but the industry's at a crossroads. The service providers are at a crossroads, and there's just a lot of things going on between between all these over the top applications like Teams and WebEx, and and the way that the communication industry has gotten so much broader and so much fatter. It's not just voice anymore, and so these service providers have to re-examine how they compete.
Yeah, and that is our thing. Cloud communications at a crossroads. And to your point, Dave, I mean, what's changed is we got a little bit of an artificial stimuli with COVID. Everyone actually did really good during COVID there in our space. With everyone having to work from home immediately, and we were the best solution for that. But now it's okay. What's the new normal? How do you adjust to it? And essentially, anybody who's in cloud at any level is in cloud communications, right? If you were Amazon, you've got communications. If you were Zoom doing video, now you've got Zoom voice, right? I mean, it's some major players now have moved into cloud communications, and it went from when we started the CCA back in 2009 to where we had cloudcommunications.com as a domain because nobody else wanted it, right, or knew what it was, and we were teaching people you don't need to have a box in your closet to make communications work. Now it's essentially everybody, including all the big guys and worldwide, are in cloud communications. So it is at a crossroads, and time to get strategic about where you're going for the future.
Well, Dave still has a box in the closet, but we'll call him an outlier. But so Clark, tell me, what's the agenda like? Tell us about the balance of networking versus learning, education, and all the rest of what's on the agenda for the event.
Well, we're really spending some money to make this a big event, bringing in the big guns like Dave and Evan, and Janet on the distribution side. If you've heard her on the indirect side, we have some futurists with Thomas Frey. We have a DP from Cisco. We have a panel that Dave's actually moderating on the future of platforms. So you have platform providers like Alianza and Cisco and others on that. But a lot of changes happening on the platform side. Mobility is a big subject, right? And so Dave's actually driving a discussion on mobility and where that's going. Really, mobility or mobile as an end device becomes kind of the table stakes going forward. The UCAS Magic Quadrant just came out, and so that's a big topic that Dave's going to be involved in that one as well. And I think going to my earlier comments on the big guys being involved, Microsoft with Microsoft Teams is really changing the market. And so we have Dave and other analysts involved there with Matt Townend from Cavell and with Art Schuler and talking then about CPaaS and key trends that we have there. We have other analysts there with Blair Pleasant and Elka Popova. So yep. We really are trying to get people involved, all of the people involved that you usually don't see all in one event.
Basically what Clark is describing is this going to be all education. There's not going to be any fun. It's going to be, bring a sharp pencil and an empty book of paper because it's going to be rigorous education. And that's about it.
The location is just awful. Was the Radisson downtown Fort Lauderdale not available?
No, we couldn't afford that many letters. We could only afford one letter.
One letter, and so
the W.
My favorite events combine free time and networking and frankly selling and learning. How can you get involved, Clark, either as an organization or as an individual, as a team? What do you suggest beyond just signing up and showing up? What other ways can you participate in the organization?
Well, I think it's really, looking and putting yourself out there on the networking side. I mean, a lot of deals get done at the CCA events, whether it be there's a lot of financial guys there, investors there. And so there's people who get their financing from relationships they made at the CCA. There's a lot of M&A deals that have been done through people who've been at the CCA. But to your earlier point on networking, I mean, our first full day there, it starts on with an evening gala on the night of January 16th. So it just starts at nighttime with dinner. But the first full day is January 17th. And that night we have a dinner cruise. So we rented a huge boat yacht and we have everybody on that. So it'll be a lot of opportunity for networking. And I think, you got to take advantage of it. It's still, I think, although the industry has become big and worldwide, the leaders in the industry is still, a relatively small group and ones you can get to know, and you'll see them all at the CCA event, which is to your earlier point, Dave. I mean, I think this isn't an event to go out there and meet customers. This is an industry event where the leaders of the industry come together and with really networking at a level that you can't do anywhere else.
It's a really interesting mix because there's a lot of people there that are, known each other for so long, and there's just a lot of, it's like a reunion in some sense, but it's not exclusionary. I mean, people come that are new to this group and they're welcomed, and it's really easy it's an intimate crowd. It's really easy. I mean, the boat you're talking about, the cruise, it's designed to facilitate conversations, and a lot of really good conversations happen. And of course, everyone, who's who is in the of the industry is there. Basically, it's obviously Clark and Evan are going to be there, but you got Michael Tesler, the founder of BroadSoft, is going to be there. You've got most of the service providers. They send their top people coming from the service providers. You've mentioned a bunch of the analysts, but the vendor ecosystem that supports this, it's the who's who. It's a nice little intimate gathering. I mean, you look at bigger shows like Enterprise Connect, you can't have the same quality of conversations because it's just too big. This is a really nice group.
Dave, set the scene for us. Where are we in the industry? We've seen a tech meltdown. We've seen a crypto meltdown. We're seeing valuations down. Is cloud communications kind of the one bright spot in our industry, or are we sinking, no pun intended, with the rest of this space? Are you optimistic about 2023, or your normal pessimistic self?
Yeah, I'm pessimistic in a different way. Put it that way, because I think that a lot of these companies that are public are down right now for no reason. And that's why I'm pessimistic, because I don't get that. This is flawed. Everyone's just freaking out and panicking, and companies are doing things like, in our space, they're saying they're lowering forecasts and lowering their projections, but the point is that the state of the economy doesn't really matter. As long as you have employees, there's a good chance that they are going to be using these tools, and the fact that the pandemic is ending doesn't mean that everyone's canceling all their conferencing and telephone services, because they still need them. All it takes is one remote person on your team, and you have video meeting. I mean, they said this was going to be a recession-proof industry, and they have proved to be incorrect. But I think that they are right. I think that we are actually in a recession-proof industry. And so whatever's happening right now cannot be explained. And so I think the work from home thing is that, what I've said before, the toothpaste isn't going back in the office, and it only takes a couple of remote people. So to require these tools, I think we're going to see a lot of investment in what they call the hybrid office space, which includes you'll be shocked to hear this, Evan. It includes phones. We didn't buy phones, by the way, when during the pandemic. We sent everybody at home without a phone, gave them a soft phone. And now that they're coming back in the office, we're buying them phones, and we're actually considering giving them phones at home. And then, Clark mentioned the mobility changes. We're going to see a huge increase in the amount of cell phones in the enterprise, or maybe not necessarily increase in cell phones, but cell phones joining the UCaaS umbrella. And so now you can, we've always talked about work any place, anytime. But now you can also move your number between a hard phone, a soft phone, and a smartphone. And that changes the value proposition as well. So just a lot going on. The technology isn't a concern. The crossroads is a concern, because I think the service providers are I was talking to Elka Popova about this, and I have to give her credit because she summed it up very nicely. She said that it probably started when Cisco bought BroadSoft, but once the platform providers, companies like BroadSoft, the platform providers, started competing with the service providers, which started with that Cisco acquisition, but we've seen every platform provider has been acquired. It really changes the game, and the service providers are really having to rethink, how do they differentiate? What do they do? What is their value add? And there's a lot of options. There's a lot of different ways to go.
But I think it's market segmentation, right? Because you look at the penetration in the market is quite high, right? Almost 50% when you look at kind of 10 users, 10 employees or smaller in a business. But when you look at the more of the mid-market and large enterprise, that's still, the majority of those customers still have PBXs in their closet. So there's still a long runway ahead for the mid to large enterprise. But that's where you have to be strategic, right? Because that's where you have Microsoft and the big guys playing on the, call it the 1,000 seats and higher. And so there's these great opportunities, a great runway ahead, but you have to kind of pick where you're going to play best. And and decide who you want to compete against and who you don't want to compete against, and what are your differentiators, and really I think play this strategically going forward. Before, it was such a wide open market, you could just go for it and you were going to find some good gold there, but now you really have to pick a path.
Awesome. And Clark, the CCA is more than about this one event. You have an annual community. There's a lot of virtual and digital engagement, a lot of learning and online activities,
a lot of events.
As well. So
Yeah.
tell us about your plans for the organization next year.
Yeah, we try to do one big event of our own each year, which is this one, right? It's Cloud Connections 2023. We'll do one in Europe, so we're looking at June in Europe, and do one there. We also do one in the fall where we partner with Cavell, who's Cavell is a leading group there in mostly in Europe, but they come to the U.S. here, and we partner with them in the U.S. and we partner with them in Europe as well. So between our own individual events and those we partner with Cavell on a worldwide basis, we average between webinars and those probably an event every month. But large events, there's a good 3 to 4, and we split them between the U.S. and somewhere usually in Europe. We're looking to actually go to Asia sometime this year as well, later in the fall, but still in the works on that one. But it's probably the biggest change to the CCA over the last since 2009, once this has been going, it's become a large international group, and we have as many members now that internationally as we do in the U.S. So, it continues to grow that direction.
Fantastic. Well, I'm super excited about the event. I'm super excited to get out of Boston to Florida. I'm sure Dave's excited about getting out of New Jersey for any reason whatsoever. Yeah. So super excited to see everyone there, see you both there. What are you looking forward to in particular about heading down south? The boat cruise sounds fantastic. Some of the views there at the W look extraordinary. So I'm just gonna really soak it all in.
Hey,
actually, it was the last. I don't know. I guess it was either the last BroadSoft Connections or it was the first Cisco event that they did in Fort Lauderdale, and they brought in some donuts, man. I haven't forgotten those donuts. And so we have to go find this donut shop because they were amazing.
We need donuts like a hole in the head, but I am going to.
Oh, donut holes. Yeah, look at donut holes too. Yeah, good idea.
I am excited to find the donuts.
I'm looking forward to yours. You should tell them about, I think the whole social media community piece and having an interactive session there. We can actually get things done in the session.
I'm actually going to have a session around best practices, tips, tricks, techniques for B2B.
I don't know how you pulled this off, Clark. I've been asking Evan for social media tips for years. He says, "Oh, you should hire somebody. You should talk to this guy. He knows what he's doing." And you get him to actually come up and do a workshop. I don't know how you got that. How you pulled that off.
And you're going to get a free 99-page ebook on B2B best practices and growing your business on Twitter. So I look forward to that session. It's going to be a roll your sleeves up, get to work kind of session, so you can update your terrible LinkedIn and Twitter profiles and actually get some attention, get noticed in 2023. Well, look, guys, thanks so much for the chat. We're going to have a series of sponsors and other members of the community on the show over the course of the next few weeks and months, and look forward to those chats as well.
That's great. No, thanks, Evan. Thanks, Dave.
Right. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you down south.
See you in Fort